WGMU Radio. This is Toddy Abeje, and you're listening to the You Got That Right Sports Talk Show.
They're playing basketball. We love that basketball.
In the NBA playoffs, the Houston Rockets eliminate the Oklahoma City Thunder by winning Game 5, 105-99. They won the best-of-7 series, 4-1. Rocket star player James Harden had a superb game, scoring 34 points and grabbing 8 rebounds. On the other hand, Thunder superstar Russell Westbrook had another magnificent performance, scoring 47 points, grabbing 11 rebounds, and dishing out 9 assists. He became the second player in NBA history to average a triple-double during the regular season. The Rockets will face either the San Antonio Spurs or the Memphis Grizzlies in the second round. The Spurs defeated the Grizzlies 106-103. Kawhi Leonard scored 28 points, and their bench played well, led by Manu Ginobili, who scored 10 points, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Patty Mills scored a playoff-high 20 points on 5 made three-point shots. Mike Conley scored 26 points, and Marcus Hall scored 17 and dished out 7 assists for Memphis. The Spurs have a 3-2 lead, as Game 6 will take place on Thursday, 9:30 Eastern in Memphis, Tennessee. The Utah Jazz defeated the Los Angeles Clippers 96-92 to take a 3-2 lead. Gordon Hayward led the Jazz with 27 points and grabbed 8 rebounds, despite dealing with the effects of food poisoning. On the other side, Chris Paul scored 28 points and had 9 assists, and J.J. Redick scored 26 points. They were without star player Blake Griffin, who is out for the season with a toe injury. Game 6 will take place on Friday, 10:30 Eastern in Salt Lake City, Utah. Joining me now is Kaleel Weatherly, who is a Mason student and is a sports writer for SB Nation. Welcome to the show, Kaleel.
Saudi, what's going on, man?
Not much. So, Kaleel, what's your take on this year's playoffs so far?
So I think either two things, Toddy, and you know kind of like my view on all of this. Ultimately, it's going to come down to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Steph Curry-led or the Kevin Durant-led, however you want to say it, Warriors battling to see who's going to hoist another NBA championship. I think both teams are going to have relatively easy paths to the finals. I think for the Cavs, I don't see a team in the East besides the Wizards when they want to who can compete with the Cavs on a consistent level. I think the Wizards have the best chance out of the East to knock off the reigning East champions in the Cavs. And for the West, I like the Spurs like every year, but I think the only thing that's going to get the Spurs, the athleticism isn't there. And for a team like Golden State, they can play the half-court game, they can corral rebounds and get onto the open court. So I think naturally for the Spurs, they're going to have to do a lot more than just play sort of like this whole fundamental style of basketball. They're going to have to be able to get up and down the court. They're going to have to be able to hit shots because with the Warriors, all 4 of their superstars are dangerous from beyond the arc.
You got that right.
So you have to take into account for that. But no, I think it's going to come down to the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I mean, how impressive is LeBron James? You know, he just won his 21st straight first-round playoff game, and did you know he's also 12-0 in first-round series? So, and he's still not getting the respect he deserves because of the hype with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant. And also, the Golden State Warriors finished off the Portland Trail Blazers in a dominating 4-game sweep. It wasn't even close because the average margin of victory was 18 points.
Right.
So, yeah, I expect those two teams to go in the finals. Barring any surprises, I don't see anybody touching the Cavs or the Warriors.
You know, for me, for that series, I actually believe, and people get on me about this all the time, I think the Warriors are going to sweep the Cavs.
Wow.
Because think about it like this, Toddy. You have 4 superstars. You have Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and you have Draymond Green.
That's true.
Kevin Durant doesn't have to score 30 a night. He doesn't have to do that. Steph Curry could do it. And if neither one of those two score 30, Draymond Green. And then if you go double Draymond Green, you do not want to leave a sharp shooter like Klay Thompson from beyond the arc because he'll get you every time. And for the Cavs, I like the Cavs. LeBron can do it all for me. He's just this huge freight train with point guard-esque capabilities. But I believe it's going to be too much for him because they're going to need LeBron to have just superb games throughout that whole finals. Because for the Cavaliers, I look at this. You have to get Kevin Love involved early in the first quarter, and Cleveland has done an exceptional job of doing that.
Yes.
You have to get Kyrie Irving, he can get going at any time. I think in the fourth quarter, that's when we see the best of Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving is a superstar, no doubt. But the only weaknesses that he has is he's not a great defender and he's injury prone.
Well, yeah, that's right. He's not a great defender, but he'll be guarding Steph Curry, so he's going to have to bring his A game. But at the other end of that, Steph Curry isn't a great defender either.
That's true. They both cancel each other out.
Yeah. So if you look at it like this, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, they cancel each other out, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, LeBron James, that definitely cancels each other out.
You got that right.
Tristan Thompson and Draymond Green, see, that's the wild card right there.
Yes.
Because Draymond Green can stretch the floor. And Tristan Thompson is an amazing low post defender. But can he step outside on the perimeter and alter shots? And he doesn't have the athleticism as a Draymond Green. On the other end of that, Draymond Green is a phenomenal defender. And Tristan Thompson doesn't have an offensive repertoire that could actually power him past Draymond Green's excellent defense. So I think it's going to be a really hard one. And also, Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is, in my mind, yes, he is the best shooting guard in the game. But I think a lot of people do not give him credit because there were times last year and even this year, Klay Thompson bailed that team out so many times. He is a great three-point shooter. He can create his own shot.
He scored 37 points in one quarter.
Yeah, and he may not be. He can create his own shot, not like a Steph Curry, but he can still let his shots go. And also, he's a good defender. So you're probably going to have a guy like Iman Shumpert cover Klay Thompson. And while Iman Shumpert is a good defender, I don't know if he can.
He's not a great offensive player.
He's not a great offensive player. So that's going to be a really good matchup.
So who's your MVP, Russell Westbrook or James Harden?
Westbrook. I mean, if you look at it like this, and I tell people all the time, Westbrook is their point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center.
You got
Why?
that right.
Because he's a stat sheet stuffer. He can corral rebounds. He can bang with the big guys in the post. And his passing is just artistry on the court. It's like he has eyes in the back of his head. He can corral the rebound, and he's a one-man fast break. He can just go coast to coast. And he's an improved jump shooter as well. Now, he does take a lot of shots, but again, he's their go-to option.
Exactly. Who else does he have?
Well, Victor Oladipo is inconsistent.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Steven Adams. Enes Kanter, he's okay. But I think what Westbrook needs a small forward, not a Kevin Durant type, but someone who can create their own shots and someone who you can depend on late in the game. Because I think if you're tied up with OKC down the stretch, you know who's getting the ball. It's quite obvious. Russell Westbrook is going to get the ball. And he should, because he's the guy. He is the man of that team. Well, not the man, but he is the go-to guy on that team. So, I mean, it's just interesting seeing how much of an effect he's had on his team, a positive effect.
Absolutely.
Because without him, they're not a playoff team. They're a lottery team.
You got that right. He's definitely my MVP. I mean, look what he's gone through this season. I mean, the second player in NBA history to average a triple-double. I mean, look at his supporting cast.
Yeah.
It's nothing like James Harden's supporting cast where you have Patrick Beverly, Eric Gordon, Trevor Ariza, and Lou Williams. I mean, Russell Westbrook doesn't have those type of players. And the fact that KD left him further enhances his credibility to be the MVP.
Right. And also, think about the people you just named. They're all three-point shooters. So, normally, James Harden drives to the bucket. Another defender is going to come guard him. He attracts a double team. So then you leave a jump shooter like Ariza or Lou Williams open, or Eric Gordon. And then there it is. Those are pretty good three-point shooters. They're proven three-point shooters. But James Harden, I will say, a great talent in the league. If Westbrook doesn't get the MVP, and I doubt that fans will say, oh, well, he doesn't deserve it. If he doesn't get it, James Harden should be the next in line. Or, here's a curveball, Kawhi Leonard.
Yes,
because
exactly.
He is a really good player as well, and I think he can be a multiple-time MVP candidate throughout his career if he keeps this up, because there's this trend of him scoring more points throughout games and averaging more points throughout every season. So he's a really good talent, and I know Popovich really loves Kawhi Leonard.
He's arguably the best two-way player in the NBA because he could do it on the offensive end and on the defensive end.
Right.
And he has the Kobe mentality of being clutch when it matters most.
Right.
He's big time. And the Spurs, and clearly, the Spurs found their superstar after Tim Duncan retired.
Yeah.
Switching gears to the NFL, the New England Patriots won their 5th Super Bowl this past season in a thriller over the Atlanta Falcons. They trailed 28-3 in the third quarter, and they came back from that deficit led by the great Tom Brady and went in overtime, the first overtime in Super Bowl history, as Brady completed 43 of his 62 passes for 466 yards, which is a Super Bowl record, and 2 touchdown passes, and an interception that was returned for a Falcons touchdown. And also, another guy who had a great game, James White, who was the running back, had the game of his life by catching 14 passes for 110 yards and running for 29 yards on 6 carries, including the game-tying touchdown in the fourth quarter and the game-winning touchdown in overtime. So, what is your reaction to that Super Bowl? What a great Super Bowl it was.
2 things. One, the Falcons' defense needs major upgrading, and I think they did that with the signing of Dontari Poe. He's a really good force in the middle for them. He'll be a really good force in the middle.
Grady Jarrett had a great game with 3 sacks.
Yeah, but how are you?
They need that, though.
They need the consistency. Dontari Poe has shown over his career, proved over his career that he's consistent. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Second, Tom Brady, in my opinion, is the best football player to ever play, ever, for me. Because here's the thing. You can say whatever you want about Deflategate. Okay? They won the Super Bowl, and someone made a statement at the end of the Super Bowl that someone's going to have egg on their face once this is all over. Meaning that either Brady's going to get suspended or the NFL are going to be made fools of. They suspended Tom Brady.
Without any evidence.
Without any evidence. But see, here's the thing. And it's not even the evidence part. They suspended him for 4 games. The Patriots go 3-1 with Brady serving a suspension. Brady comes back, and they win 11 games. They go 9-1 with him under center. So, and they only lose 1 game, and that's against the Seattle Seahawks when Gronk got injured. Yeah. So, in that Super Bowl, for him to lead that team with that revolving door of receivers, don't forget, there's no Rob Gronkowski. That's Brady's go-to guy.
That's crazy. Gronk didn't. There was no Gronk, man. There was, and LeGarrette Blount was struggling, and they didn't have much of a running game.
Well, no, look, LeGarrette Blount had a really good year. He led
a great year. I mean, he led the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and he also eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark. So he was valuable on the ground. But think about those receivers. Julian Edelman, good receiver, good to great receiver.
7th-round draft, former
out
quarterback.
of Kent State, yeah. And then you have
Chris Hogan,
Mr. 7-Eleven. And they gave him that name with Miami when he tried out for the team in 2012. I did a story on that at work. And you have a guy like, who's the other receiver?
Malcolm Mitchell.
Yeah.
Martellus Bennett.
I mean, those aren't bad receivers or bad targets.
They're not big
but they're
names.
Not among the elites of the NFL. So for me, to have Brady sit back in that pocket and orchestrate long drive after long drive after long drive, he continued to shred Atlanta's defense. And on the field, for me, his precision is just amazing. It doesn't matter where you are on the field. If Brady has an open window, he's going to get it to you somehow, some way. And the thing that I love about Tom Brady the most, he still plays with that chip on his shoulder. He actually, throughout his career, I would say the theme of his career, people are going to say, oh, he's a cheater. No. He made every scout in the 2000 draft look like fools because there's something they didn't measure. Okay, yes, we know he wasn't the most athletic quarterback. His 40 time was horrible.
Yeah.
But there must have been something they did not measure. They didn't see something. Yeah.
It's kind of like the election when everybody thought that Hillary Clinton was going to win, but Donald Trump shocked them by winning the election. But they only measured by like the polls. but they didn't measure how angry people felt. So yeah, it's a good comparison to Brady. You know, he was a 6th round pick, and he wasn't expected to be anything. And guess what? He's the greatest quarterback of all time. He's won 5 Super Bowls. He won a couple of MVPs, and people have to give him his respect.
Well, let me throw a little stat your way. So, as you know, as a Patriots fan, you know that Tom Brady as a Patriots fan, you know that Tom Brady has always been working with a revolving door of receivers each and every year. Guys like Peyton Manning, who had Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, or guys like Kurt Warner, who had great receivers like Torrey Hart, Isaac Bruce, Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald throughout his career. Brady didn't have that. There was always someone different. People will look at Gronk and say, oh, well, he had Gronkowski. Yeah, but Tom Brady was in his 30s when Gronkowski arrived. He was already an established quarterback. And he did that. He established himself by working with receivers that teams let go.
Cast-offs,
basically. So, Tom Brady threw 64 touchdowns to 64 different receivers. Do you know who has the record?
Gronk?
No. Oh. For a quarterback to throw at least one touchdown.
Vinny Testaverde.
Yep, with 70.
Yes.
And I think I told you that one.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
The thing is, it's like he's achieving so much. And you can say, oh, well, it's Belichick's system. Yeah, that's great, but at the same time, the players have to execute. You can have a great system all you want, but if you do not have the players who can execute, then it's a fail. So for me, for Brady to develop sort of like a chemistry on the go, he's developing chemistry with a lot of the skill players or the receivers and the tight ends and the running backs as the season progresses. And then for him to just basically take his team to the Super Bowl and hoist his 5th Lombardi trophy. And he did it in an exciting way. I mean, that Super Bowl was just
28-3, bro.
Who would have thought? At that time, I thought the game was over. I covered the Super Bowl. I thought the game was over. And then Dante Hightower.
But the play of the Super Bowl, arguably, when he had the sack fumble on Matt Ryan and Devontae Freeman whiffed on the block.
Yeah, and that kick-started
everything.
This
changed.
Huge run. And for me, people blame Atlanta's offense for that Super Bowl comeback
because of they didn't run
the ball.
They didn't run the ball. They were successful in running the ball.
Yeah, but see, they only ran the ball about 4 or 5 times in the second half. For me, the blame, you have to shoulder a lot of the blame on that defense. Listen,
93 times they were on the 93 plays.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get worn out.
Yeah, and not only that, here's the thing. You were up by 25, correct?
Yes, 25 points.
How many points do I need to put up to make sure that you can, or how can I put it? How many points do I have to put up to give me a comfortable lead? You would think 25 points, that's more than comfortable. That's a commanding lead. And for you to have so many miscues on defense, and Brady, he just shredded that defense. And for me, people can say, oh, well, Matt Ryan had that costly fumble that shifted the momentum. Yeah, that played a role, but at the same time, the defense gave up so many points.
That's true. Matt Ryan, he was when they were up 28-20, he led them down the field, and he threw the pass that Julio Jones had an unbelievable catch.
Yeah, and
they were in field goal range, and then he got sacked, and then the holding penalty, and that kicked them out of the field goal range, and they had to punt the ball, and then the Patriots drove down the field. And during that play, Edelman had one of the most unbelievable catches when Robert Alford thought he had an interception, knocked the ball out, and then Edelman dived to the ground and caught the ball. And it was like, unbelievable.
Sort of like David Tyree.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I know you don't really want to talk about that.
No, it's too
But that was an amazing catch, and I think that was one of the highlights of the Super Bowl. It's like you're on a drive where you can tie the game with a 2-point conversion, and you need miracle plays. That right there, when Edelman made that catch, I thought in the back of my head, yeah, I think the Patriots are going to win this game. Normally, when a player makes a catch like that, with the game on the line, with the momentum already on in their corner, it's like It's unbelievable. I think Brady solidified himself as the best quarterback or player to ever play the game. There's no disputing anymore.
And Bill Belichick also is the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
When you have a system and he can make any player look like a star.
Yeah. Think about it like this. Look at their linebackers. No more Jamie Collins. Well, their defensive front. No more Jamie Collins.
No Jamie Collins. Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones.
They still got Dante Hightower.
Yeah, but one
no
guy.
Gerard Mayo.
Yeah. One guy that I like is Kyle Van Noy. You all got him from Detroit. He's a pretty good. I think he's going to be pretty good in that system. Let's see who else in that secondary. I like Patrick Chung.
Devin McCourty. Malcolm Butler if they keep him.
Yeah.
And they just signed him. Stephon Gilmore.
And then there were rumors going around that the Patriots
might get
Richard Sherman. I mean that's
Jason McCourty, right. Devin McCourty's twin brother.
Yeah, but I mean honestly, Todd, they would go with Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Not saying McCourty is a bad. Not saying he's a bad player, but Richard Sherman is that your proverbial lockdown corner.
Yes.
He can shut down an entire side of the field. So, I mean, if they do get a guy like if they can somehow have a backfield consisting of Patrick Chung, Devin McCourty, Malcolm Butler, Stephon Gilmore, and Richard Sherman.
Oh my!
Listen, I think that's the new no-fly zone.
No fly zone.
Yeah.
Nobody would dare to throw the ball in their direction.
No.
Lastly, will the New England Patriots, with all the additions that they did in the offseason, adding Mike Gillislee, Stephon Gilmore, Dwayne Allen, Rex Burkhead, and then they're going to have the draft, and then Gronk is going to come back, and Brady's going to be back, Edelman, Amendola, Chris Hogan, Malcolm Mitchell, Deion Lewis, James White. Will the New England Patriots win the Super Bowl again next year?
Okay, I don't know about win the Super Bowl, but I know they're the favorites out of the AFC.
You got that right.
I would say the only team who you should be afraid of, Toddy, and I'm talking to you as a friend, who you should be afraid of, the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you don't know, Martavius Bryant has been reinstated.
Yes.
And in that game where Le'Veon Bell had a groin injury, can you imagine if they had a guy like Martavius Bryant on the outside? Because, listen, you can say whatever you want about Martavius Bryant. I hope he got everything together, with his personal life. I hope he's everything is fine in his personal life. But as an on-field talent, as a receiver, remarkable. He's a big-bodied receiver who can win 50-50 balls. He's a deep threat. He's a red zone threat. So now you add an extra dimension to that already potent offense. And so now you have Le'Veon Bell coming out of the backfield. You have Antonio Brown, Martavius Bryant. I'm a huge fan of Darius Green. When healthy, he is a pretty good tight end. He has the athleticism.
And I believe the Patriots will, if things go the way it's supposed to go, they will be the Super Bowl champions. All right, thank you, Kaleel, for coming to the show and giving us your expertise.
Absolutely. Take care, Toddy.
All right, I'm Toddy Beje, and that's the You Got That Right Sports Talk Show. We will see you again soon.